pepperoni, and marinara sauce, topped with provolone cheese, and placed on a fresh baked Italian roll. The General Store on 24 in Lewis.
All right, 9:42. It is the Bill and Jessica Show. We want to welcome live in studio our buddy, Senator Chris Coons.
Yes,
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Welcome
Great to
back
see you,
to
Bill and
Power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're
Another
stuck with
Phil's
us for a
win.
few minutes. I know.
Thank you.
I
Right?
know.
Thank you so much for coming in, man. We appreciate it. How you been?
Been good. Been busy. Been working. Been traveling. But frankly, it is really nice to have just had a weekend
Yes.
in Lewis, in Sussex, with
Nice.
my family, just trying to not do too much.
Okay, so let's talk about that. That's what. That's going to be the first part of the interview
I've kind
here.
of lost the skill of not doing too much of loafing.
Well,
so
look,
trying to do more of that.
we had a nice 4-day weekend. Hopefully, I don't know if you worked on Monday or not. Hopefully not.
I tried my best not to.
Okay, very good. Because I would like to ask you as a senator if and this it only comes up every so often because next year, July the 4th will be Wednesday. Does it keep going?
It keeps
So
going, yeah.
Monday and Tuesday next year need to be mental health days. Okay, as a
gonna
senator,
Someone here I need to talk to.
you can introduce that bill, right? If it's
Mental
during the
health
week,
Mondays.
yes. If it's during the week, we need to make the days before. So, but yes, 4-day weekend. You say you have family down here in Sussex.
Yep. So I have twin boys who are 24.
Wow.
Both boys were down. One with his girlfriend, and my wife and our boys. We just had a great time.
Yeah.
We went out for crabs at Surf and Crab.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Oh, they're amazing
Unbelievable.
there. I know.
Heavy,
Incredible.
sweet. I mean, some of the best crabs I've had. Just amazing.
Now, when you go out like with your family and stuff, and you
Yeah.
show up at a place like that, like a
Yeah.
restaurant, can you? I guess you can't just walk in and stay with your family and everything quiet.
I
like
try.
the people like bum rush you.
You know, look. The people in Delaware are always respectful, which
Right,
is nice. So,
right.
you know, look, if they don't like my politics or they don't like me, they just do this. You know,
Right, right.
So I'm spotting this couple over there. They're like leaning over. And talking to
That's
each
actually
other,
a good thing
pointing.
to get them out of there.
And I'm
so
like,
you
okay,
can.
and I just give them a little wave, like, hey there, But this other couple, like, they stood up and they came over and they started talking to us, and I can see my son Jack. He's just looking at me like, Dad, really?
Yeah.
So I said, great to see you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Okay, great. Good night. Bye. Good. And
I love hearing these stories.
look, my wife has been unbelievably supportive the 23 years I've been elected, county and now the Senate. But we do a lot of takeout.
Yeah. It's hard.
Because bluntly, if we go out to a restaurant, 8 to 10 people will come over and like, hey, I see you're with your family. I don't
Yeah.
want to interrupt,
Right.
but
Yes.
Right.
I have a problem. I need to get right. I'm traveling. I didn't check my passport. It's expired. Can I help? Yes. Here's my card. Here's the number. By the way, we can help if you're having a veterans problem, an IRS problem, a passport problem. That's what we're there for.
Nice.
I've got offices with 5 people who do nothing but constituent casework for Delawareans every single day.
Wow. Okay. Very
So-
good. So you ended up seeing the fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Saw the fireworks in Lewis with my mom and my aunt last night. And
Nice.
it just
How were they?
fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
really great.
Lewis
they
is
went
one of my
on
favorites.
And on, and they
Yep.
they keep getting bigger and better. And so after the fireworks, there were like tens of thousands of people coming out. So,
Yeah.
And my mom kept saying, "What are those things? What are those things?" And I was like, "Those are drones."
The
Mom."
drones.
Right.
And my aunt was like, "Who's flying them? Who's in them? Where are they from?" I was like,
Right.
I was like, Peggy's 90. She's wonderful.
Wow.
But I was trying to explain to her that they're like these little things that have like copter, right? And they go up, right? And she was like, why do they need drones? And I said, well, just think about it. Sorry to put it this way, but if you've got 20,000 people in one place, it's their job, Lewis Police and Sussex Emergency Management, to make sure there isn't any incident or any problem. And so sure enough, as I'm walking the mile and a half from my mom's place to where I'm staying, I keep seeing different drones
Oh,
every day.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Walk by, saw Chief Spell, Tommy Spell, the chief of Lewis Police, and a couple of the Delaware State Fire Police, some folks from the fire company. I walk past an officer, and he sees me walking alone, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Just walking home, man.
Hanging out at
It's
the beach.
okay." And God bless, he says, I just want to thank your office. And I was like, for what? And he goes, I called Ernie Lopez, the former state senator, and asked him, what do I do? I have to get to Jamaica for a family funeral. My passport's expired, and I've been waiting and waiting, And he says, call Chris's people. They'll take care of it. And they did.
that's
And he
Nice.
was able to go.
So
See?
great.
Chris
And,
Coons getting things done.
Well, and he said, I hate to bother you. I said, you don't understand. That's the highlight of my day. Right there, that's my job. Like all the other stuff, the talking and the DC, that's great. But like if you call my office and you don't get a response, and you can't get, we're not magicians. We can't fix everything. Like if you've been in arrears on your tax payments for 20 years, like we can't just wave a wand and make that go away. We can't.
Right.
But we can help make sure that your case gets looked at, because there are huge backlogs from the pandemic at, Veterans Administration, IRS, passport agencies. And, anytime I can help someone like that officer, that's why I got into this in the first place.
Right. Nice. Well, look, we're glad you had a great, holiday weekend.
How was your holiday? The Phils won.
The Phils won. Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
It's June, I mean, this is our month. We're back to hitting Schwar bombs, Bryce Harper, I mean, like, look, let's go. Speaking of Schwarberfest, since you Georgetown, have you checked out the new Wawa?
The new Wawa. Have you
in
been
Georgetown?
there yet?
Right
Not
over here.
yet.
It just opened up.
Is that where I'm going for lunch? Maybe where I'm going
Asking
for
his
lunch.
people if that's
We'll
where
see. We'll see.
It's
Probably
right in
shouldn't
here
have
in
broadcast
Georgetown.
that, should I?
Yeah, hey, it's all good. It's all good. No, and people around here act like they've never been to Wawa before, but packed, walking
and it was
all
funny.
over.
Some of my boys' friends who moved out of state, like for college or jobs, we were all sitting around talking about Wawa. 'Cause my other son's girlfriend is from New York, is not from the area. And we were going on and on and on about Wawa.
About
She's like,
Wawa.
what is this Wawa? We're like, honey, you take her over, get her a shorty,
Let's
get her a
go.
bowl.
We're
Right.
going to learn today.
Right. Get her over to Wawa.
What is on your agenda? Coming up today, tomorrow. The next week or so. What are you working on?
Visiting a lot of different sites today and tomorrow, just right here in the Georgetown area and eastern Sussex. Going to meet with some legislators. I'm meeting with the new county administrator for Kent County. I'm visiting La Red, the federally funded community health services center here in Georgetown just after this. And I have a number of other events that I'm speaking at, taking questions. I'm doing a community event in Lewis this evening. But mostly just trying to catch up with folks who maybe I haven't seen in a while, who run different nonprofits or businesses or agencies. I talked to a hospitality leader last night and was just asking him about workforce, about training, about hiring. One of the things I'm really concerned about as more and more people move to Sussex is we need a stronger workforce to do home health care, to work for hospitals, whether it's BB or up in Milford. People say to me, I moved here from wherever, and I came here for the low taxes. And I often interrupt them and say, yes, and what are you discovering? You don't have the services you were used to in wherever you're from.
Right.
New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I said, there's a challenge there. Like, you want world-class health care like you had in Westchester County, but you moved down here for the no taxes. But honestly, there's the trade-off. Like, so top of that field has to be veterans and making sure that we're taking care of our veterans, and that the CBOC, the community-based outreach center, has the capacity and the access to quality health care. We've got some challenges with that. You also know Senator Carper, who has served our country close to 50 years, just announced his retirement next year. I'm trying to figure out what are the things that Senator Carper has been leading on in Sussex and in Kent that I'm going to need to take over and take a more central role in. He is the last Vietnam veteran serving in the Senate. And he's really been forward-leaning on the VA in Delaware and on veterans outreach and services. So I want to make sure that I'm prepared to help fill some of that role. This is, a year and a half from now. We've got a lot of good time to serve together still.
Now you're on until the 2027. I saw, but like you've got quite a few years left. So you're
I'm not
going
until 26.
full steam ahead as far as like his agenda, your agenda.
The term in the Senate is I can focus on governing. And I'm trying to help get things done. I have a number of bipartisan bills and some calls I need to make to Republican senators to say, hey, we got 3 weeks left when we get back in July. Can we move this? Can we get this marked up? Can we advance this to the floor? Can we get it out of committee? Most of them don't want to hear from me this week.
Right. Yeah.
But,
4th of July week.
Right.
Waiting until right when we get back, sometimes it doesn't leave enough runway. So.
How is it? Because I often see you on TV when they do these hearings, and which by the way are wild. It's more
You
like
have a lot of patience.
yeah, like how do you
Say that.
deal?
You have a lot of patience.
But then then you see like the clips of the different senators and different elected officials with and I've never seen a crazy Chris Coons clip ever I promise I never have. But I mean just some of the questioning and the way that they treat these people who are getting grilled. I mean it is just like, how do you deal with that? Because I don't know if you can't talk, you get shut down. I mean it's crazy.
Look, the structure of some of our hearings doesn't lend itself to the kind of respectful, constructive deliberation that I would think Delawareans would expect of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple of colleagues who are more into performance and getting their Twitter followers and ginning up their base than they are like trying to advance things. And that's one of the real challenges that we're facing. I'll just give you one small example because I'm on foreign relations. This entire Congress so far, we have only confirmed 6 ambassadors. We have close to 50 waiting to be confirmed.
Wow.
So we have countries where we haven't had an ambassador for a year and a half or 2 years. And in most countries in the world, if you don't have a confirmed ambassador, the head of state won't meet with a career person who's 2 levels down.
Is it because the sides can't agree, or what's the problem?
There is one senator who's holding up the vast majority of them, and he's got a theory, and he's pursuing it about COVID, where it came from, and China, and virus
Let me guess.
research and stuff.
Let me not guess, but let me guess.
And I keep saying to him, doctor, senator, with all due respect, if you want to hold, 5 ambassadors or 3 ambassadors and say, you're never getting these until you give me this conspiracy theory, he's got, God bless, like that is the prerogative of any senator.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have to hold everything?
Everything, right.
Yeah.
Senator Tuberville, former coach of the Auburn team, first time in American history, first time ever, he is holding every flag rank officer in the U.S. military from promotion. So as of this month, a commandant of the Marine Corps, his term expires. There will not be a confirmed commandant of the U.S. Marine Corps, first time in our history.
Wow.
There will be an acting commandant. And, Senator Tuberville has a deeply held, profound disagreement with the Biden administration on reproductive rights. I respect that he has a different view. I understand that. But this has never happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's reaching down and holding career, nonpartisan, non-political military officers from going up to the next. And I just don't understand.
How do we get to a place where everyone disagrees so much? When I was younger, coming up, at one point, I kind of go in waves. I follow politics and I don't,
and you get
then
sick
I
of
do.
it, and you say, "To heck with it."
And you go down the rabbit hole, and then you do, then you don't, then you do, then you don't. And ever since especially COVID, when COVID hit and all that, how do we get so divided where now you get Roe v. Wade overturned? How do you get so? Because Roe v. Wade's always been a thing,
I gotta tell you, these things have contributed massively.
Right.
Because your point, you just said going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
More and more Americans get most of their news from social media, and the algorithms, the complex mathematical programs that drive social media, they're designed to pull you in,
to pull certain.
And I don't know how much
stories
time
up
you
and-
spend
right.
doom scrolling, which is a phrase I didn't know until my kids taught me.
Doom scrolling.
just sitting there
right. Yeah.
But
Everybody does all day. That's all they do,
I waste an hour a day looking at junk that I don't need to read, and I have to be like, put it down, man. And it knows. So I tried an experiment. Okay, I tried an experiment. Something I've never looked up. I picked northern lights. The things in the sky in Scandinavia.
Right.
So I just started searching for northern lights on Instagram and Facebook, and within one day, the stuff that was getting pushed to me is like, would you like to take a trip to see the northern lights?
Wow.
Here's the best place. It knows what you're doing. It knows what we're talking about.
Our phones are listening right now.
They are literally listening. Have you noticed that you'll have a conversation?
Yes.
My wife and I are talking about porch furniture, and boom, there's an ad for porch furniture. I'm like, hang on a minute, this is creepy. How is this related to division? So if you show you're just looking up a couple questions about hey, aren't the Chinese really responsible for coronavirus? You'll start getting more and more stuff about that. If you start looking up porch furniture, you'll get more and more stuff about that. But it means that if you don't make a conscious effort to look at news that right? So I try to watch Fox and MSNBC and CNN, and then I try to watch like BBC or like Good Morning America, stuff that's not partisan,
Right.
because most of my colleagues spend most of their time down a rabbit hole
Yeah.
and responding to constituents who are down. I'm convinced that Twitter is not America, and that most people just want to know that if they have a problem, they call my office, we will respond and help them to the extent we can. And that when I get into a hearing, I will be respectful and constructive. People know I'm a Democrat. But at the end of the day, my job is to serve Delawareans,
Right.
regardless of, I don't
Right.
care who you vote. I would like that you vote. Please
Right.
vote. It's an important right. But you're not going to get different service out of me or my office in terms of responding to your letters or responding to your concerns based on your partisan background. I think that we are at real danger of having a generation of kids who've grown up with an image of themselves and an image of the world that is warped by these things. So I have a bipartisan bill
Right.
that is genuinely bipartisan to open up those algorithms and make us better able to understand their impact on the division in our country and on mental health for young people, particularly young women, particularly girls.
Were you at that? You were at that hearing with Mark Zuckerberg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. He's come for a couple.
Okay. Yeah. There was one in particular. He was there like a couple days where you guys like questioned him, or
I
maybe.
think that was the Commerce Committee, which I'm not on. This was probably.
But
2
you
years
have
ago.
questioned him, and
Oh,
you know.
I have questioned him. Yes, I have.
Yeah. What is your feeling on?
What was stunning to me, and this is funny, not funny, right? So Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So that morning, first thing, I start getting these texts from old friends. First one was from a friend from Hawaii, a Marine veteran and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, got a new family?" I'm like, "What?" And then it's the times that like when people are getting up. So then I
Right.
get texts from here. And so before the hearing, I go and look, and there is a fake Facebook account of me. Dan Sullivan is a senator from Alaska.
Right.
Okay. Great guy. Very different politics, but I like Dan. And it's me with his wife and his kids.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. And if all you have to do is open it and look at the profile, because several of my friends sent it to me and said, "Hey, we're already friends. You're asking for me to friend you on Facebook. What's this?" You just have to go 2 levels down, and it's all Russian. So I sent it at like 8 a.m. to the
Wow.
contact at Facebook that is supposed to fix these things. And by the time I've got Zuckerberg in front of me, I'm like,
Oh my
several hours
gosh.
later,
So you showed him.
I'm like, "Can I just say something? That guy right over there, Senator Sullivan, has
Wow.
a wonderful family, but it's not my family. And I'm a U.S. Senator. If I can't get an answer out of you
my
guys in
gosh.
4 hours, how many Americans are stuck with these crazy things where,
Fake profiles
I mean,
and the scams.
Well, see,
How many
being
times
Mark
a day-
Zuckerberg, he should be able to make a call and get that done right away. I'm
that
like,
was
come
kind
on.
of what I was expecting.
Yes.
And he was like,
Yeah. Nah, come on. Look, just
Yeah.
quick call done. Quick
I was like,
text
dude,
done.
you built this like $1 trillion
Yeah.
business off. So the thing that worries me about it is we are the product.
Okay.
When you're getting something free of that power and
Right.
strength, you got to say, well, what's paying for this? What's paying for this is your data, and my data. If I had said 20 years ago, "Hey, I got an idea. We're going to put an ankle bracelet on every single American. U.S. government is going to put an ankle bracelet on you that listens to every conversation, tracks your every movement, and then gives it to the U.S. government." It would have been a revolution. People would have said,
Yeah.
"Hell no, you can't do that. This is a free country." That's exactly what this thing is.
Wow.
It's exactly
That's
what it
wild.
is. They know where you've been, at what time, where you've gone, how high up in the building. So they know which doctors you've gone to, which businesses you visited. I mean, that data, we don't have a data privacy law that allows you to say, "Hey, show me everything you've got on me, delete this, take rid of that, block that." Europe's done it. The United States hasn't. We should. That is the
Wow.
kind of thing
Okay.
Wow.
Is that something that you're
owe
working?
you.
Are you going to?
I
Yeah.
am trying.
Yeah.
Guy named Jeff Flake, former senator from Arizona. He and I did a series of bills on this. We
Nothing.
could not get it. You've got the two parties have such different visions about what we ought to be working on. That's why I've got this bipartisan bill on trying to open up the algorithms.
Okay.
We got off on social media. We were just talking about how did we have a nice weekend. I will tell you, I spent a fair amount of time, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
looking at Yelp
Right.
to figure out where to go for dinner. Looking at ways to see, like
The traffic.
There are wonderful things that these devices bring us. It's not all bad.
Yeah.
And if you look at the top 10 companies globally, like 7 of them are U.S. based innovative companies that were started here. So I'm not just
Well, real
talking
quick,
trash about it,
and
but
you know,
we should better understand what they're doing to our kids.
I know you're short on time, but just real quick, TikTok. You know, for or against? Should it be banned?
Yes.
You believe even
kids-
even like with watching my kids and going through and getting
My kids, and I don't mean to keep talking about my kids, but they love TikTok. They watch it all the time.
yeah, so do
Right.
we.
And I say to them, honestly, that thing is literally hoovering up your data and sending it to China.
But what does that do? Like that?
To be blunt,
Yeah.
that lets them get it. So who cares where I am, what I'm doing, who I'm talking to?
Unless somebody's gonna come after me, what?
Right.
So
if, you,
what
if
someone
you're
in
a
China
U.S.
gonna do?
senator, like I'd really rather not have China
Right.
monitoring my movements and conversations all the time. I have spoken to several senior leaders in the intelligence community and the national security community who have said, "Get that thing the hell off your phone."
Okay.
It is pernicious.
gosh.
Actually, one called it malevolent. Here's the one thing I want you to hear: TikTok in China is fundamentally different from TikTok in the United States. Meaning, they have set it up so that in China, you can only play so many hours a day.
I did hear that.
And the fundamental message is their algorithm for TikTok China spins positive. It pushes videos at you about studying, about being respectful to your parents, about obeying the Communist Party authority. I mean, right? And the algorithm in the United States twists the other way.
Oh.
And look, I'm not an expert in this stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what
Right.
I've been told about it. That really made my toes curl.
I mean, I know we could talk like an hour,
think
an hour on
I
TikTok.
think we
but
should be I think we should be incentivizing an American entrepreneur to come up with something comparable, but that doesn't have a backdoor to the Chinese government. And I have nothing but respect for the Chinese people.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government that I have a
Right.
problem with. Just to be clear. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like we need to distinguish between those things, but I am increasingly convinced that these things could be very harmful. There's a reason the Chinese government doesn't let our version of TikTok.
well, I learned
impact
something new
their
because I
kids.
didn't know there was that. I didn't know about that. The two different versions.
They
and-
have a firewall so that if you're inside China, you cannot get information from the outside world. The Great Wall of China today is an internet firewall.
wow.
They are protecting their own people
Mm-hmm.
from the crap that's on the internet worldwide, and benefiting from the world. Anyway,
And well, I'm glad that you actually, you said that you love the Chinese people and it's just the Communist Party, because when I watch some of these hearings and hear some of the other politicians speak, they talk like so evil, like it's like
you cannot disrespect an entire country.
Right.
It is a deep and ancient culture. They have a lot to offer the world. We have to figure out a working relationship with them. But in terms of what their government does,
yeah.
wow.
Any,
that should be bringing senators together. In fact, it did. We passed the Chips and Science Act last year to address Chinese competition by bringing advanced manufacturing back to the United States. Because we invented semiconductor chips. It used to be 3/4 of the chips in the world were made in the United States. Then gradually those great jobs got offshored to Taiwan. Taiwan's very vulnerable. We passed a big, bold bipartisan bill that is going to bring a significant amount of semiconductor chip manufacturing back to the United States. So anyway,
Wow.
we do get good things done in Washington.
Yeah,
They just don't get talked
yeah.
about much.
Right.
Right. Well, look. Again, thank you for everything you do. Thanks for your service. Anything you want to promote or talk about before we wrap up?
I'll just say I hope that on the 4th of July yesterday, folks just took a minute and enjoyed the fact that in this country you can say what you want, think what you want, be who you want. We have Memorial Day and Veterans Day to recognize those who serve in our armed forces and those who died fighting for our country. Whether you went to a parade or fireworks or just enjoyed a cookout with your family or just sat and did nothing, the fact that you're free,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that the government and some party cannot surveil you or tell you what to do is the core of who we are. And so just enjoy that. Whether you're watching a Phillies game or watching the fireworks, I hope everyone had a great 4th of July.
Phil's going to make a run.
I believe so.
Okay,
I'm
all
a
right.
believer.
Hey,
It's going to be
we're
a
on
great
our way.
summer. Absolutely.
Yes.
Senator Chris Coons from Delaware, thank you so much, man.
Thank you
Always
so
a pleasure.
much.
Appreciate it.
Great seeing
We're out. Have a good rest of your day, guys. It's 10:07.
When you're out having fun in the sun. fun.